私は昔から本だったわけではありません。この姿になる前は人間でした。
これでどう？
空特艦！
いいねいいね。
雑貨屋みたいなものなので。
時計いじりなんて大嫌いだ。
僕はジュリオ、アダレットの騎士だよ。
さあどうかし
面白い、気に入ったぞ。
はい、どうすればより強くなれるのか。狙い撃
ら私まだまだ頼りないかもしれないけど、私のこと信じてくれないかな。
私は君のために戦う。私は君と一緒に歩んでいきたいんだ。
それは
お前はこの世界どちらが聖女を守るにふさわしい。勝負で終わりそうですね。この世界ごと君を守っていくぜ。私守る必要なんかないわ。
Here comes Joe!
面を上げい。
There's no way a normal man could take this. It seems he's the real thing.
何か面白いものでも見えるかの。お主のこと、海賊と落とす者もおれば、まれびとと崇める者もおる。ここは一つ、お主の誠を聞かせてくれるか。
I told Ieyasu that I came to Japan in pursuit of Kelly, the man who stole Saoirse from me, and told him about Amrita as well.
ほう、守護霊を取り戻すか。ケリとやらがわしを狙っておるとなれば、現れるやもしれんの。半蔵ともども、護衛も好きにいたせ。
はっ。
じゃが、戦のある限り、霊石を狙う輩、お主の守護霊を欲しがる輩はいくらも現れよう。のう、アンジよ。戦のない世、作れると思うか。
A world without war.
わしは作るぞ。その大義ため力を尽くしておる。お主は鬼を斬るその力、何のために使う。
I'd never thought about that.
まあよい。江戸へ向かうぞ。どこせ。
Do you know what kind of creature waits for its own slaughter? Sheep. The Knights of the Iron Legion were once unconquerable. No longer. They now bend the knee to lords and ladies who have forsaken the wisdom of war. The samurai of the Dawn Empire are fearless, disciplined warriors. Yet their emperor dishonors them with his laws and decrees for peace. Most heartbreaking, perhaps, are the Warborn, the Vikings. These ferocious clans have set aside their axes for their feeble family. They're cowards. We must be brave for them.
We cannot hope to trigger war everywhere.
We can, if we recruit our enemies to the cause. This will be an age of wolves.
How dare you! Thousands of my people dead! Well, here's your chance for vengeance. You and your warriors will learn to live like the rest of us! Apollyon played us all, one against the other. For what? To weed out the weak.
I took an oath to fight for peace. So did you. Through me, the wolves among them will rise again.
Who do you think you are?
War. I am war.
Peggy 16. Peggy 18.
베르세르크 무소! 무소 시조! 사이kyō!ダークファンタジーの金字塔ベルセルクの物語を劇場版3部作の映像を交え徹底体験。
おい、大丈夫か？
グリフィス様、すごい。
絶対の強者のみ。
一つの声に満たされていく。言ったはずだ。俺は俺の国を手に入れる。
楽園が悪霊を引き寄せることはないはずです。
何かぼんやりしたもの。これがあいつの魔術。
なんたる両翼。時が満ちる。
ベルセルク無双。
頼るがよい。師匠としてどっぷり甘やかしてみせよう。
Hi everyone, I'm Cody Arm.
I'm Brendan Fry.
And we are showing off a little bit of Halo Wars 2.
We are. I got the privilege of going down to 343 Industries in Seattle, technically Redmond, recently, and I got to play some of the early demo of Halo Wars 2 on PC and on Xbox One.
So this is a new mode for the game.
Yes, this is we're right now seeing Blitz. Blitz is the new high action, high kind of intensity multiplayer mode that instead of revolving around base building, it revolves around cards.
Okay, so why don't you go a little more in detail about what that means.
So basically you can play as 1v1, 2v2. 1v1 is more of, you basically just have to take on the opponent. 2v2, you work together, you share resources, and you basically have to figure a way to kind of capture all 3 points. And if you get to the 200, you win.
Okay, so you said it's less about base building, it's more high octane. Is there still some strategy?
There's definitely some strategy.
Okay.
So you see that in the bottom screen you have some cards going on.
Yeah.
You have to build your deck, kind of similar to the way you use Magic or Hearthstone or that sort of thing. And you get packs in the game, and you open those packs, and you kind of have to build a deck of 12 cards. Based on each leader you have, right now I'm playing as Atriox, but you can also play as Captain Carter, and there's a few other leaders beyond that. And so you have to build your deck of 12 cards and figure out, do you want high action, low cost early cards, or do you want a lot of big, beefy units? And it's your choice to kind of how you mix it up. The higher cost cards means that you're going to get less of them out less quickly. The lower cost cards means you're going to get them out quickly, but they won't suck up the damage as much.
Okay. So you're going from different points trying to get energy, correct?
Correct. Around the map, there'll be areas where you have the little atomic symbol type thing. And you go after that, you can get the energy that'll let you drop the units. But you also get energy by killing other units, maintaining control of spots. So there's ways, if you choose not to go for that energy, you will still survive. But if you really want that kind of leg up, that the ability to drop a big unit quicker, you want to go for that energy.
Okay, and I see like there's a little bit of a time limit up at the top there. How long do you have to play any given game?
I believe it's, for the 2v2s, it was 10 minutes.
Okay.
So it does limit how long games last. I mean, there's also the 1v1 horde style game where it's basically go against the computer and see how long you can last. And that match I've gone for about 22 minutes or so. Some other people went for almost 30 minutes of just constantly fighting things like that back. I believe one person got to 500 some points, meaning they just basically did it for over 35 minutes or something like that.
So I also got to play Halo Wars, not in Seattle like you did.
Okay.
It wasn't so fancy. I got to play it at the X1 event in Toronto.
Yeah.
When I was playing, what I noticed was there's a lot less tactics involved, and it was more just going like all out blitzing.
No, this mode definitely has some tactics involved. You have to figure out what units to play at what time to counter what the opponent's doing. So if the opponent's using a lot of anti-air weapons, you don't want to drop an airship right there. If the opponent's using a lot of troops, you want to drop something that will take on the troops. So it really determines what you drop, when you drop it, but you also have that fact that you have that limited hand. You have 4 cards at one time, and you have to make sure that when you drop a card, it counts. You don't want to waste that troop, like drop something down that dies immediately, because then you've just wasted that energy that might take you another 2-3 minutes to get back.
Now, off microphone, you were talking about a strategy that you and your partner were doing where you were going out and attacking while your partner was building. Why don't you talk a little bit about how you guys were doing that?
So basically what was happening is my partner, I believe in this match, one of the other matches we were doing, he would go around and collect all that energy, as I was basically going around and taking all those spots. So you have the point A, point B, point C. And the longer you control those spots, the more power you have, the more you'll be able to win the match. So I was using the energy, dropping troops down quickly, as you're seeing right now, as he was going and collecting all that energy. So that made sure that we always had the ability to drop troops when we needed it, but we were also able to maintain that control of the map.
Okay. One of the things I really liked about my playthrough with Halo Wars was they did a lot to show the damage that's being dealt.
Yeah.
We saw it a little bit just now as you were talking, but it looks like it faded away a bit. But you can see when there's an explosion, there's that lingering effect.
Yeah.
It's very everything packs a punch. Every move makes a difference in that regard.
No, definitely. I was talking to people, even the person related to sound design was talking about how they made a dynamic sound system, so that as your troops are under attack and under fire, they'll act more frantic, they'll act more scared. Also, if your troops are really dominating in battle, they'll be more cocky, they'll try to have a bit more bravado. But if they're losing in battle, they'll be a little more downtrodden, a little more scared. So they really made a dynamic system in there that it always feel that things are happening, you always feel kind of part of a living, breathing world. Also, the way the music score works. The music will ramp up as action happens. It'll kind of dial down as it's kind of lulls. And you can kind of go to that silence when there's not really what's going on, so you kind of get that sense of calm.
Yeah.
And I think that ability to kind of have that dynamic presence on the map, even though you're looking at small little units, you feel the tension that's going on. You feel, oh, this match could go badly for me. And you get that there. Whereas a lot of RTS, they're all happy until the exact point they're dead, then they just die.
Yeah, exactly. That's it's something you don't see very often. But the one thing that I do want to say is that this game does a really good job of...
Yeah, you're now seeing us... I'll let you continue, but you're now seeing mine and my partner's troops kind of coming together to try to take everything out.
Yeah. This game does a really good job of giving you a chance to turn the tides.
Yeah, no, it definitely
It's
does.
not once you start to lose that you're stuck in that situation, which is really a big problem with a lot of RTSs.
Oh, it's very true.
You can dig yourself out of a hole, which is really good.
No, there was a lot of this, especially in this mode. There's a lot of back and forth. If you manage to just get enough troops out there and maintain control, you can take back that victory when it looks like you're about to lose. But vice versa, if you're not paying attention, you almost get win, and you just let it fall by just not having the troops out there, just not letting things go, not getting that energy. And the opponent just can easily take those points back from you, and it's hard to come back once you're completely destroyed.
We both did previews for this game, which will probably be in the underbar here. But in my preview, I said that if you're new to RTSs and you like the more fast action that you get in a first-person shooter, this would be the perfect game to jump into.
Yeah.
This is for PC and Xbox One, like you mentioned.
Yep.
Obviously, it would be better on PC just with the mouse and keyboard options.
I mean, I found playing it on both Xbox and PC, they're different. If you're used to controls, the console's probably easier for you. It's right there. You just kind of drop them down. You're always in the action. If you're used to PCs, the PC will be easier for you. It feels very similar to StarCraft, to Dota, that sort of thing. So it really depends on what sort of game you're used to playing.
Well, that's what I was going to say too. Is that like it was optimized for like if you want to play it with a controller, it's not going to feel foreign.
No.
It is made to work well with a controller, which was one of the problems with the original Halo Wars.
Oh, very much so. Now, you see here I have that massive army that's just kind of biding its time on this point as my opponent, or rather my buddy over there, is trying to take the top point, and we're just trying to maintain control for the last little bit. See, we were early on way in the back, but you look at right now, we're catching up really quickly.
Yeah.
You can see my massive army that's walking around. I'm not, and even then, I'm not maxing out the points I have. Like, I can have up to 30 troops. I'm at 19. So there is possibility to have much bigger armies and much stronger presences in the map.
It's good to have some on reserve just in case.
Exactly. But you also seeing you have the you can bring down a Spartan. You can bring down those really unique units, and there we go. That's the end. Yeah.
Look at that.
What do you think?
I'm excited. That looks a lot of fun. Like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Everyone here at CG Magazine, have a good one. You can follow us on Twitter at BFry26 for me. The magazine is a CG Mag Online. Cody.
You can catch me at Cody_Orm.
And you can always find everything that we do at cgmagonline.com. Thank you for watching. Until next time.
See you later.
The story is very important. We're telling the story of Aloy, and it's fantastic to follow her personal motivation throughout the world. We explore her origins. She is trying to answer the question where she came from, who her parents are.
At the start of the game, Aloy is an outcast. She lives with the tribe, but sort of in an isolated location. When she tries to interact with people, they kind of shun her. But there are some people that do want to talk with her, and unfortunately there are some merchants that allow some limited trading as well. We have a number of quests in which you can play young Aloy. We use the child Aloy sequences mostly for tutorializing the mechanics to the player, the very basics. And as soon as you're the adult Aloy, that's when a lot of the skills and the bigger machines actually come into play.
So one of the things that was really important for us is that as Aloy discovers the world, basically the player discovers the world as well. She hasn't seen a lot of the world. She's always lived in a tiny village. And for the player also, basically, they, at the beginning of the game, haven't seen a lot of this world yet. So it's all about exploration. The world that Aloy lives in basically wasn't her world. They're not the first people in this world, and that's something basically that we wanted the player to be able to discover, basically going into these ancient ruins and basically finding what this civilization was, what ended that civilization and sort of started the world in a new form. None of the tribes really remember what happened before. As far as they know, the world has always been like this. And when we just started designing these tribes, basically we sort of went sort of like anthropologists. We looked at the environment that these people have started in and basically how they would have developed, what sort of resources were around, what sort of things they could hunt, what sort of things they could eat, and also basically the machines basically that live in their environment. Right from the get-go, basically we invest a lot in characterization, in Aloy as a character, into the stories of the tribe, all the background stories, and that basically was a major point of information for all the design decisions and also all the art directional decisions that we made along the development of the project.
This is really the story of Aloy, so even though the machines define the world, they are the dominant species, it's still very much Aloy's journey. Through her story, you unravel the bigger mysteries.
Get increased stealth and increased accuracy when you pre-order at GameStop.
PlayStation.
Hi, I'm Colin McComb, creative lead for Torment Tides of Numenera, a philosophical role-playing game set on Earth 1 billion years in the future. As you journey through the Ninth World, you'll make your way to Sagas Cliffs, a large town that attracts all kinds of people. Beggars, travelers, assassins, priests, and traders of almost any material good you can imagine. Now 2 such explorers have set up a glowing cage of energy in the middle of Circus Minor. Elginto and Canadu have caught a biomechanical beast called the Nectameron. They display it for money. Nearby, a young adept of the Order of Truth spies on the 2 explorers. When approached, Beliazar wants to know if you are from the Order too before he says anything more. So at this point, you've got 2 choices. You can either lie and claim that you are, or tell the truth and deny any attachment to the Order. You told the truth! How honorable. Unfortunately, this means Beliazar won't reveal his plans and this questline ends here. In Torment Tides of Numenera, characters remember what you've told them, so you need to live with the choices you make. Fortunately, because this is an interactive video, we can roll back to the point of decision and see what else can happen. You don't want to play the game like this, though. It's designed so that even failure is interesting and consequential, and sometimes more advantageous than success. So we make the other choice. Now, seeing you as a fellow wisdom seeker, Beliazar reveals that he wants to study the data in the Nectameron's biomechanical brain. He's created a teleport device that he'd like you to attach to the energy cage. Then there's a small matter of killing the creature. Now, Beliazar claims that the Nectameron is a construct and thus not technically alive, so it won't be a murder. So now that you've gained his trust, you've got 3 options. So you choose to go along with his plan. You now need to pay Canadu and El Shinto so they let you see the beast up close. Only then will you have the chance to plant the teleport device. Well, the device worked. Now you need to go find the Nectameron in the Reef of Fallen Worlds. Killing it won't be easy, especially because you're not extraordinarily powerful yet, so you need to recruit a mercenary to fight by your side. Once you're ready, we'll leave Saga's Cliffs. Alright, here it is. Unbound and deadly. Normally, you would fight with everything you've got, but let me tell you a little secret. In Torment, death is not the end. So now you can decide which scenario you want to see. You fought, but you died. As I said, it's not the end of the world. After death, you go to the Cast-Off's Labyrinth, a mysterious place hidden deep in your mind. You can explore it to advance the story, get extra clues, uncover new subplots, and come back to life. But even then, your death has long-term consequences. For instance, the mercenary you lost in the battle is not like you. For him, death is final. You've just completed an early side quest in Torment, Tides of Numenera, and reached one of 7 different outcomes. This is just a small taste of the game's complexity. We take your choices seriously and make sure they translate to meaningful consequences. Even more so in main quests and with more complex subplots later in the game. Through your actions, you will shape a personalized story. Ultimately, these choices will help you to find your own answer to the game's central question. What does one life matter? That was quite a battle, but you've triumphed. Alright, so we're just going to collect the brain and bring it back to Beliazar. He's grateful. So grateful that he pays you in shins, Torment's currency, for completing the quest. Beliazar will now return to the Order to study the brain. But the 2 adventurers you stole the Nectameron from are furious, and they will remember what you did. You've just completed an early side quest in Torment, Tides of Numenera, and reached one of 7 different outcomes. This is just a small taste of the game's complexity. We take your choices seriously and make sure they translate to meaningful consequences. Even more so in main quests and with more complex subplots later in the game. Through your actions, you will shape a personalized story. Ultimately, these choices will help you to find your own answer to the game's central question. What does one life matter? So you think Beliazar's pursuit of knowledge doesn't justify theft? Interesting. In that case, you can reveal his plan to the explorers who capture the Nectameron. While El Shinto takes the teleport device from you, he can't help but admire your honesty and Beliazar's thirst for knowledge. As a token of gratitude, he gives you his exhaustive research notes on the Noctameron. So what do you want to do with them? You show the notes to Beliazar, and he is speechless. He couldn't possibly get such in-depth data even if he had the brain. He is delighted, and if you visit him in the Order of Truth later, you will find him studying the notes. Also, the choices you've made here influenced your affinity to the tides. By exposing Beliazar's plans, you became more attuned to the indigo tide, which represents values like justice and the greater good. However, since you later decided to give him the information he sought, you also adjusted slightly to the blue and gold tides. The former is linked to wisdom and enlightenment, while the latter stands for empathy and compassion. You've just completed an early side quest in Torment, Tides of Numenera, and reached one of 7 different outcomes. This is just a small taste of the game's complexity. We take your choices seriously and make sure they translate to meaningful consequences, even more so in main quests and with more complex subplots later in the game. Through your actions, you will shape a personalized story. Ultimately, these choices will help you define your own answer to the game's central question. What does one life matter? You take the notes and you tear them into pieces in front of Beliazar. As you may have guessed would happen, he's furious. If you two meet again later in the game, he will definitely make sure to show he remembers what you did to him. What's more, the choices you've made influenced your affinity to the tides. By exposing Beliazar's plans, you became more attuned to the indigo tide, which represents values like justice and the greater good. Shredding the notes enhanced that effect. At the same time, your red tide also increases, the tide of passion, action, and emotion. You've just completed an early side quest in Torment, Tides of Numenera, and reached one of 7 different outcomes. This is just a small taste of the game's complexity. We take your choices seriously and make sure they translate to meaningful consequences, even more so in main quests and with more complex subplots later in the game. Through your actions, you will shape a personalized story. Ultimately, these choices will help you define your own answer to the game's central question. What does one life matter? Oh. You want to see what the party most affected by Beliazar's plans might have to say. Interesting. But that won't be possible without paying Alchemist first. They need to recoup some of their expenses. Seems the creature is not especially talkative. But when you were talking to Alchemist, he mentioned something about the Noctameron being less aggressive at night. Do you want to investigate that lead or choose a different solution? Alchemist is right. The disposition of the Noctameron changes completely after dark. As you talk to the creature, you promise to set it free. The Noctameron reprograms the teleport device and disappears? Well, now you're faced with a toughie. How are you going to explain this to Beliazar? You go to Beliazar and explain frankly what you decided to do. He's furious, as he should be, and claims you betrayed him. If you two meet again later in the game, he will definitely make sure to show you he remembers what you did. On the other hand, you can chance upon the Noctameron in the wild during your adventures. Who knows what will happen then? What's more, the choices you made in this quest had an impact on your affinity to the tides. By freeing the creature and admitting your actions, you came closer to the Indigo Tide, which stands for values like justice, equity, and the greater good. You've just completed an early side quest in Torment, Tides of Numenera, and reached one of 7 different outcomes. This is just a small taste of the game's complexity. We take your choices seriously and make sure they translate to meaningful consequences, even more so in main quests and with more complex subplots later in the game. Through your actions, you will shape a personalized story. Ultimately, these choices will help you define your own answer to the game's central question. What does one life matter? When you talk to Beliazar, you claim that the teleport device he gave you has malfunctioned, and no one can tell where the Nectameron is gone now. If you come across Beliazar later in the game, you'll find him tinkering with the device, hopelessly trying to repair it. On the other hand, you now can chance upon the Nectameron in the wild during your adventures. Who knows what will happen then? You've just completed an early side quest in Torment, Tides of Numenera, and reached one of 7 different outcomes. This is just a small taste of the game's complexity. We take your choices seriously and make sure they translate to meaningful consequences, even more so in main quests and with more complex subplots later in the game. Through your actions, you will shape a personalized story. Ultimately, these choices will help you define your own answer to the game's central question. What does one life matter?